I read some really good books in 2024, and these five Kindle books really stood out to me. I mean, from heartwarming to jaw dropping twists and turns. And believe me, it was not easy. Some of these authors have amazing catalogs, but I did it. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. My name is Raquel. Welcome and welcome back. The first book is In Him I Trust. And this is sort of a urban fiction, Christian fiction mix. And I love Christian fiction as well as urban fiction. So to put them two together, and it was done so well. Like Nicole, her books are great. I feel like there's no way under the sun that she is not Christian. And it's because she takes you from just a average everyday guy who is living his life. He becomes a boxer, and along with becoming a boxer, you've got money, you've got good looks, you're an athlete, so you get all these perks that us regular people probably don't get. I know I don't get them, but he's got all this stuff happening, and he takes that in, and he's kind of got a big head, and maybe he has a right to, I don't know. But at some point, something happens. Similarly to regular life, something happens in our lives where we have this epiphany, and we start to take an introspective look at ourselves, and it makes us want to be better. And that is basically what happened to Trust. This was a great book. I loved it. I read it earlier in the year. It was actually my very first book review, and I am bringing it back to you almost a year later because it was that good. It left an impact on me. I truly enjoyed it. If you have not read it, I would suggest you do, especially if you're into urban fiction and Christian fiction. Sometimes I've read some Christian fiction that's kind of questionable, and I feel like she just did such a great job of balancing the two, which I find is kind of hard to do. Normally, is either urban or it's Christian fiction, but the way she blended it and brought it full circle, it was beautiful. I loved it. It was inspiring. And like I said, if you have not read it, you might want to go pick that up. So, book number two is Losing Control by Lady Nisha. So, I want to say that I did not put these in order as far as which one was better or worse, because I feel like they all have their own category and sort of kind of. So Losing Control, I would that is my kind of romance. And it's drama filled, stuff is happening. You've got all this, just I don't know, toxicity, I guess, happening. And I enjoy that in a book, not in real life, but in a book, I enjoy it. And Lady Nisha does it so well. Like I said, these authors have amazing catalogs. She is hilarious. She, she will have you just laughing out loud. My husband's like, "What's wrong with you?" or "What are you laughing at?" Don't worry about it. It's my book. She is amazing when it comes to uplifting spirits and making you laugh. So this was kind of my urban romance type. So it is about a girl named Marley, and the book is over 600 pages. So get ready. Marley is in a relationship with this guy, and it's kind of strange when I saw this, because Marley is seems to be really kind of a into holistic. She's into herbs. She makes candles and tea and different things like that. And her boyfriend is the hood dude. You know, she's riding around with him to make his drops or whatever. And she's vegan and he's not. So they're kind of really kind of polar opposites, right? And so I'm into the story and it's good. It's good. And then all of a sudden, here's the twist. Here's that drama I'm looking for. Not that it starts off, it held my attention, which sometimes is really hard to do. Um, but it held my attention. The story goes on. I'm thinking that this book is gonna, just kind of go down this path. I know at some point something's gonna happen, but I am blown away by the twists and the turns in this book. This was a real live page turner. It was super popular when it was out. Not that it's old or anything at this point. It's only a few months old, but yeah, this was a great book. I have read several of her books. Another one of my very favorite is Stay Scheming. It is hilarious. Finally Famous. It is hilarious. I chose Losing Control. Number one, it was a very good book. Number two, it was a much longer book. It gave more novel than short story. And so there were, just things constantly happening in this book. I did not want to put it down. I really enjoyed it. And that was Losing Control by Lady Nisha. It was amazing. I will likely read that book again sometimes in the future. So book number 3 is Misunderstood, which is sort of like a teen romance. It is really good. It is by Lucinda John, who also has another amazing catalog books that I enjoyed. Hood Rich. So yeah, she's got a lot of really great books. This book, I believe, was written at the beginning of the year, and there is a part 2 that I cannot wait for. As a matter of fact, I had to check before I did this video, and it is not there yet, but I am so looking forward to it. She does not rush her books. She does not rush her books. I read one of her books, Not Another Hood Love Story, and it was so good. I was into it. And when it was over, I don't think there's a cliffhanger, but I knew that there was going to be a part 2. I probably waited a year and a half, maybe 2 years for part 2. And so I don't imagine that she's going to have this book out like really soon, just because she takes her time, and in taking her time, she writes really good books. I enjoy her books. They're great. This was, like I said, a teen love story. It's about these high school kids who have fallen in love, and the the girl and her family moves out of the projects somewhere. I want to say maybe about 3 miles away. 3 hours away from where they live. And so neither one of them have cars, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for them to see each other. And so they're having this long distance romance. And of course, some drama has to happen because it is urban fiction. And it's really good. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a teenage love story, basically. But it's really good. Then we have the Delgados. Oh my God. This series is still going on right now. Like it is still going on. Every time I look at the top 100 urban fiction, women fiction, I think it was in another category, I can't remember. But every time I looked for, I want to say at least 3 or 4 months, one of these books were in the top. Well, one of them was number one all the way up until I want to say maybe a week ago. Well, I don't know about a. Well, I looked a week ago or maybe a couple of days ago, and I noticed that there was a different book, which would have been like the first time that none of the Delgado series have been in the top number one. So, there is a family. Their last name is Delgado. So it starts out with Capone. He is one of the brothers. He meets a woman who is more or less a damsel in distress, and he falls in love, and he helps her, takes care of her, and elevates her. She was done really, really dirty, and he just cares for it the way a man is supposed to, especially urban fiction type of man. So then you have Capadonna falls in love with another man's woman, takes her and elevates her. And then you have Caprice, who is their sister. So Capadonna and Capone are brothers, and then they have a sister named Caprice. And so their whole family, the mom, the dad, everybody's in these books. And I just, I always love a series when you have these characters that are connected and you're, in another book, and you have, all of these different characters being woven in. I find that amazing. Like, I can't even imagine how the authors are able to keep their stories, aligned, especially when I believe Capone has 3 books. I think Capadonna has 5 or 4 books, and then Caprice has about 4 or 5 books. Like, how do you? And then there are other characters being added in. Like, I have no idea how she keeps that straight. In between that, she has written a couple of other books in between this series. So, I mean, like I said, these authors have amazing catalogs. I enjoy urban fiction so much, but I actually think in the earlier part of the year I burned myself out on it. And so I did kind of move over to kind of give myself a break. But before I did that, I did read Loving Man. So, Loving Man is by Bailey West, and it is a romance. So, this one is really a romance. I wouldn't say it was urban fiction, maybe women's fiction romance or something like that, whatever it is. It is such a good book. It tugged on my heartstrings. It is about a man who is a single dad, and he is raising his child alone. Unfortunately, the mom is not in the picture, and he needs someone to help him take care of his child. He is a chef. And this was such a beautifully written story. And one of my previous videos where I talk about unrated authors, I talk about Bailey West, who I believe is very underrated. I read another one of her books this year called Anuri, which is actually a series. Those were really, really good books. Um, I just chose this one because it is special to me. I am partial to single dads. And not because, well, I'm partial to single dads because I don't know, maybe I feel like So let me say first that I'm a traditional girl. And so I feel like, um, me personally, I am made to be a mom. I was made to be a mom. Not only was I made to be a mom, I have 6 kids. So there you go. So I was made to be a mom. So when I know how hard it is to be a single mom, and I also know what it's like to be a mom with a partner or a husband or whatever. So, my husband was a single dad when I met him. I was a single mom, and so now we have a wonderful, well, a blended family. Our children are all adults at this point, except for one. But I have dated guys who were willing to care for my children, but they didn't put any effort into their own children. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So I preferred men who did not have children or single dads. And so I wound up with a single dad. So Um, but I have a special place in my heart for them, just because I know that there are a lot of men who care for their children as single dads. And I know that that is what they're supposed to do because they are their other parent. However, sometimes the moms or the dads, don't do what they're supposed to do. So I think that each should be celebrated. The moms who are single moms and dads who are single dads, because I've experienced, being a single mom, and I think that, both of them should be celebrated. I don't date women, so. um, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's really cute. It's really sweet. It is um, just romantic and all that good stuff. So I really enjoyed this book, Loving Man by Bailey West. And so just to kind of go back over the 5 books, which was In Him I Trust by Nicole, Losing Control by Lady Nisha, Misunderstood by Lucinda John, the Delgado series. Well, it's actually 3 series and I don't know, 10, 11, 12 books. I'm not sure how many books it is, but it is, if you like urban fiction and you like the drama, you want to feel like you're reading a movie, the Delgado series is it. And um yeah, I don't know what all I could tell you about this without spoiling it, but this to me was the best urban fiction I've read in 2024. In Him I Trust was the best Christian urban fiction I've read, and I've read a couple of them, but this one was the best. Losing Control was the best urban fiction romance. And then Loving Man. Um, I don't think that this was urban fiction. It may be urban fiction. I think this might be considered women's fiction or uh, urban romance. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's not the traditional urban fiction. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And until next time, Happy New Year and see you next time. Bye bye.